once upon a time what would happen, and this happened to me at World Championship, devastating, they actually would either signal at the top mark, here are the boats that are disqualified, see you later, and if you don't leave the course you're in trouble. Or I think the one I was in, they let me sail a whole lap in third place in the World Championship before they pulled me out. So, look, I knew I was over it, was fine, but I was still upset that I hadn't got away with it.
Can you ask for redress if you were, you flagged a white flag while avoiding a collision that was not your fault, and therefore keep sailing your course, and then go to
yeah, you can absolutely ask for that. Whether you get it or not, it's up to the protest committee, but it absolutely is an option for you. Yeah, if there's a reason, a darn good reason probably, why you were over early, or if you've been misidentified. If you're like, no, I was like 50 metres back, it wasn't me, but they've got the sound on wrong. We do, as I say, sometimes make errors. So if you turn up as a U flag disqualification or a black flag disqualification, and you're pretty certain it was either somebody else's fault or it wasn't you at all, then absolutely ask the question, ask for redress. Yeah, good point.
In starting or finishing, what part of the boat actually is you starting or finishing? Like
this is a U now. Yes, this is a U now.
Spinnaker or something like that?
So
Has this changed recently?
it has. So new rules, 2021. This is Dorothy Dixon, this is great. So if we have normally what used to happen is it used to be any part of the boat was over the start line or any part of the boat had crossed the finish line, that was when you took the time from, or if you were doing OCSs or whatever, that's what you judge from. However, the new rules say that it is the hull only. So if you've got a big bowsprit that's not fixed, absolutely, carboned into the boat, if you've got a spinnaker, if you've got a crew member flying out in front or something, anyone on a trapeze in a dinghy race, any of those kind of things, none of that counts anymore, it's just the hull. So it actually makes it a bit harder for us in some ways because we've got to kind of figure out where your boat hull actually starts instead of just, that's the first bit of view I can see. But I think it just took away those problems that they might have had with bowsprits that were supposed to be out or not supposed to be out if they're retractable. And people floating spinnakers out further to finish slightly more quickly. There's a few things that people were a bit tricky about. So it used to say something about boats crew, hulls crew equipment in normal position, but normal position was always a fun argument. So, Ross?
Is it one of those new style controllers that are permanently fixed to the hull? Is that part of the hull?
I think anything that's permanently fixed, is part of the hull. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think if it's retractable, if you're on a sports boat and it's retractable fully into the hull, I would say that's not it. Yeah, I think that's right. But I'm happy to be stand corrected. So that's pretty much what we are going to be worried about at the start line. Finishes. Not many rules of the finish, thank goodness. But we want to make sure that you've done any penalties that you need to do before actually finishing. So if you get the finish mark, you need to sort that out before you actually get a finish place. You can't just hit it and go, oh, it's too late now, I've already finished. That'd be nice. So if you get the finish mark, or as we talked about, the finish boat, or say you have an infringement, you're running to another boat or causing them to avoid you, just before the finish, you actually got to take that penalty, whatever it might be, 360 or 720 is pretty normal. Then you finish after that. So the race committee will probably, if you cross the line, say twice, you cross the line, you hit the finish boat as you're doing it, you've got to do your 360 and restart. We'll probably take your time both times, but the last one is the one that's going to count. And again, if there's any issues with that, redress, whatever, we've got two options. So if somebody else's fault if you ended up there, you might get your old finish time back. Happy days. Again, we've got short and course issues, and we've sort of talked about where the finish line is there. Generally, it is where you were supposed to go, as we said. Alright, well, that is all the bits and pieces I have to share with you today, but if you have further questions about race officering in general, or about rules, or about starting or finishing, I will do my best to answer them.
What's your favourite thing about being a race officer? Yes.
That's sad that I thought of that first, but it's kind of good. I think it's a very cool thing to watch a start happen with 30 or 40 high performance boats lined up, ready to go, hitting the button and going at 15 knots. I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. And having a team around you that knows what they're doing, everybody's got their job, and a start sequence just goes really, really smoothly. That's a really nice thing to have happen. Yeah, that is a fun time. So that's probably what we live for. What we do not live for is wind coming from 16 different directions, or no wind or too much wind. And those are the days where I wish I had taken up tennis. Good question. Thank you.
Also, if someone else is interested in learning more about being a race officer, what should they do?
Such a great plug for Australians, Adam. Well done. So, absolutely. If you are keen and interested in becoming a race officer, it is not as frightening as it sounds, and no one's going to make you run a race straight away. We run very regular club race officer courses through Australian Sailing. Those are now probably going to be back to face from time to time, which is very exciting.
The next one's in May.
There you go. I don't know if I'm doing that one, but might be, so you'll be lucky and get to listen to me again. So they're really fun and they're really interesting, and they go into more detail on what we've talked about today and some extra stuff about setting courses and stuff like that, which is all quite interesting. It's only about 3.5 hours, I think. The face-to-face ones are a little longer, and they're just a really nice way to understand a bit more about the processes and what goes on. So I highly recommend them. They're run by national race officers or international race officers who have heaps of experience and have some fun stories as well. So we tend to try to make them as fun as we can. And then if you find that is super fun and you're enjoying that, then you can progress. So we have, at the moment, state and national race officer qualifications and up to international as well. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff through the process, and if you get to international level, you are literally required to go overseas and do regattas, which is pretty cool. So I can recommend that from afar. I have not done it because I'm doing national, but it looks very fun and cool. So yeah, sign up for May if you can, and there will probably be another one later in the year sometime as well, September I think. So get amongst it in your winter time when you're not doing as much sailing. Any more for any more? Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a good winter now, winter season. That's exciting, and hopefully we get through a whole season without any dramas.